lifeboat's loose!
One of the ship's sailors. Oh, he isn't a pretty sight. Almost unrecognizable. I was lucky. My God, I was lucky. The ship's disappeared completely. Not even any wreckage left. They can't all be dead. There must be other survivors of the shipwreck. They can't be very far. They'll answer me. I knew there were other swimmers as good as I in the crew. They must have come ashore further down. All I have to do is walk along the shore and I'll find them. The most important thing is to gather all the survivors together. What a nightmare. I'm afraid of the lizards now. And what if I encounter wild animals? I'm hungry. I'm hungry. A date palm. Just what I need. Oh, but I'll never have the strength to climb to the top. Well, I'm not going to take a chance killing myself by falling from a tree. That would be stupid. I'll try once I've rested. In Brazil, certain Indians nourish themselves by eating grasshoppers, which they call land shrimps. What country is this? Our ship left from Brazil and was making sail for Guyana. The gale took us by surprise in the middle of the Atlantic. It lasted 4 days. Where did the wind push us? At last, a fruit I know, a papaya. Since childhood, I've always carried a knife at my waist. Today, I bless that habit. Now I'm thirsty. Grass, flowers, trees. That means there must be fresh water around. But where is it hidden? The sun, the vegetation, everything seems to indicate the neighborhood of the tropics. But since the beginning of the storm, we weren't able to chart the ship's position. It's possible that I'm at some point on the coast of South America, maybe near the mouth of the Orinoco. I don't ask to come upon such a great river as that. The smallest brook would make me happy. I hope I'll find one in time. I've heard that it's much faster to die of thirst than of hunger. Go on anymore. I have to sleep. It would be best to curl up high in a tree to be safe from the wild animals. I'm going to try to perch on one of the huge horizontal branches of this baobab tree. It won't be a very secure shelter. If I can climb up there, the ferocious animals can do so too. A wild animal could get to the top of this tree in 3 jumps. And some snakes may get the idea of spending the night there, same as I. Oh, if I think of all the dangers I risk, I'm going to go mad. And if I wake up face to face with a boa, we'll see which of us is more afraid of the other. And suppose I fall while sleeping. On the other hand, if I tie myself to the branch and I'm attacked by a wild animal, I'll be helpless. Too bad. I can't foresee everything. I'm lucky as it is to have escaped from the shipwreck. I don't even know the date of this day, which could have been my very last. Let's see. The gale lasted 4 days and 4 nights. It began September 12th, so today is September 16th. 1697. September, 1697. I left England, my country, 5 years ago. 5 years, during which my passion for traveling led me to my downfall. I was a very young man then, but the sea attracted me from childhood. As soon as I had a free moment, I went to stare at it for hours. I never got tired of the marvelous spectacle. My father had made a fortune in business, then had retired when my mother died. We lived in the city of York. He wanted me to continue my studies, like all fathers always have. Me, I only dreamed of adventures in far-off countries, but adventure already was awaiting me in my native country.
No. What are you carrying there? Would you like me to help you?
No, we'll manage by ourselves. He might talk.
I thought they were splendid-looking chaps, but they didn't seem to feel the same way about me. Why, in heaven's name? The explanation wasn't long in coming. They were smugglers. And the King's Guards were on the spot. Oh, you can dream all you want of adventures. There are some times when you prefer to get home fast.
Stop, you! Halt!
Against my will, I found myself mixed up in the eternal war between the smugglers and the authorities. My father got me out of prison. I'd been very much afraid, but I feared even more the lecture which awaited me.
This is very serious, Robinson. A man's been killed.
Oh.
Did you know that?
The guards started shooting at us first. He was so young.
I pity his father. I am far more fortunate as I still have my son. All this will cost me is a little humiliation and money.
Money?
You've been sentenced to pay a heavy fine, otherwise it's prison. I prefer to pay. On condition it's the last time. You ought to realize that you're not a little boy anymore. You're responsible for your acts. I've already told you I believe it's high time that you selected a trade.
I thought you'd already picked one for me.
Because you seem incapable of it yourself. Have you any idea what you'd like to do?
I know I don't want to be a lawyer.
Why not?
Because it's a profession that disgusts me.
I'm afraid, judging by past experience, you have a tremendous disgust for work in general. Young men nowadays hardly ever feel like working, only making money.
I would like
To see the world, yes, I know. And to see the world, you'd be willing to commit any folly. Like your friend Richard.
His father wanted him to be a tailor.
And he cut off the tip of his finger to make sure he could never hold a needle. Injuring yourself, how disgraceful. You'd be capable of it, too.
I don't want to be a tailor, Father.
If only you were able to choose a profession, anything, just as long as it's honorable. You don't care much for studies, granted. But I wouldn't blush to see my son a fine craftsman or honest merchant. I understand how you feel. I was young once, too, and knew that longing to get away. It seems to devour young men your age. Only, I resisted it. Look at me. If I'd wasted my life racing around the world, what more would I have today?
Some memories, perhaps?
Insolence and sarcasm. They're also the earmarks of your age. And yet I try to speak to you not like a father to a son, but more like a man to a man. Except you weren't listening to me.
What are your orders?
Well, if that's the way it is, I've no choice. I must force you to obedience. Tomorrow, you'll go to Woolsey's office. He'll give you your first law lesson. You discussed it. He's expecting you.
You see, you did choose a profession for me after all.
Robinson, when I met your mother, we were both very young. Our life was very calm, and yet we were happy together. I lost her too soon. And I've never forgotten her.
Father...
As for memories, Robinson, I want you to know I've my share, too. Will you leave me now, please?
Before being chained to a professional career as a lawyer, I went to have a last breath of freedom by fencing with some comrades. It was my favorite sport, that which falsely quenched my thirst for adventure.
Well, lazy.
I arrived at Woolsey's as delighted as a man being sent to prison for the rest of his life.
Why, it's Robinson, isn't he cute?
Where are you going in that disguise?
To a carnival?
To Woolsey's.
To save you from hanging?
You're getting married.
Nonsense! Can't you see he's going to a funeral?
My father wants me to study law.
And what's the point of that?
To become a lawyer.
If we're ever arrested, we'll never consult anyone else but you.
We came to get you, to take you to another party.
Impossible. I've got to go to Woolsey's.
My dear man of law, rest assured we won't abandon you under such painful circumstances.
My friends, where are they now? And myself, where am I? I slept deeply. Where am I? I was lucky. Not one wild beast, not one snake came along. No matter what the circumstances, an Englishman must wash every morning. Our customs of decency and cleanliness distinguish us from other people. If there were any survivors of the shipwreck, they would answer me. If there were any inhabitants in this country, they would show themselves. How long will I have to go on walking to find other human beings? night in this unknown country went well. I tried to piece together what happened. My ship was going from Brazil to Africa when it was caught in a storm which lasted several days and nights. As well as I can judge, the shipwreck took place off the coast of South America. But it's very possible that I'm wrong. Were all my companions drowned? Am I the sole survivor? A man's footprints. I was wrong to give up hope. I found a companion. He can't be very far. I'm not alone anymore. I'm not alone anymore. This is no time to lose my knife. The man may be a savage, who knows? The man is me. I've been walking since dawn. I've found the tracks of my own footprints. I'm alone. Not one sailor from the Esmeralda has survived. This country is uninhabited. How long will I have to wait for a ship to save me? A thought occurs to me. I must find out right away. By climbing. By climbing as high as possible. I wasn't wrong. It is an island. I can see all around it. Not a single trace of human beings. A desert island. I had set out to conquer the ocean, and it is the ocean which has made me a prisoner. Oh, God. Why did you rescue me, if only to abandon me on a desert island? Why did you save my life? Why just me and not the others? Have mercy on me, dear Lord. Don't abandon me. A few shreds of tobacco. My entire fortune. Might as well die of hunger right away. This solitude is maddening. I'm going to try to make a fire anyway. I'm not cold. I have nothing to cook. But if the ship passes, I've got to be able to attract its attention. From afar, flames and smoke are the most visible things. My only chance to leave this island. I saw some savages make fire by friction. They begin by making a sharp point on a piece of wood. Then they drill a small hole in a second piece. After that, they rotate the pointed piece very fast. The friction creates sufficient heat to produce a flame. What a savage can do, I can do as well. a civilized man without a flint is less than a savage. Just broken my only weapon, my only tool. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I try to catch fish by hand. Another failure. I mustn't let these failures defeat me. Salt. Salt. There's salt in all this sea that surrounds me. I don't know why. It seems to me that my luck is turning. Yes, my luck is turning. Seagulls. Seagulls. That means eggs. Finding seagulls' eggs is something I know all about. I've done it 100 times along the cliffs back home. No sooner found than eaten. Somehow it reminds me of my childhood.
Before beginning our
That
studies,
happy childhood that
we
ended the
must
day I arrived at Woosley's office,
classical
like a
formula
condemned man going to be
begin
placed in
by
a cell for the rest of his
defining
days.
our terms.
The door of the office closed on me like the door of a prison.
The study of law is the study of mankind. Since the dawn of history, there have been rules and traditions that have governed human conduct. Let us not forget that nature herself has evolved certain patterns of development and organizations that might also properly be called laws. From natural to civilized behavior is a logical step. We must first of all attempt to define what exactly is law. What is its proper sphere of operation? What are its limits as compared to other rules?
I remained alone in the company of this old rat who chewed up the provisions of the legal code one by one.
Taken into consideration as
I was being
well
strangled by boredom as surely as if by a noose.
as a preliminary. We must also try to discover the true sources of the rules of which law is composed. Custom.
If I had had any idea that one day I would be so unhappy, studying at Woosley's would have seemed like paradise.
will reveal themselves as
But
we
then,
progress.
I thought only of escaping.
Consequently, what are the divisions of which the principle is the distinction between private law and public law? The last one cited, public law, is subdivided in turn into national law and... And then public law is divided in turn into private law, national law, and international law, public and private. You there! Just you wait.
Hey, Robinson! Come down!
Here, it's for you.
For you.
Poor Woosley. Alone today on my desert island, I would be so happy to hear his pompous lectures. But I was much too proud to bother learning anything at all. And now that I must depend on myself, I realize I know nothing. Nothing. I don't even know how to resharpen my broken knife on a stone. Alas, I have all the time I need to practice. Sparks. But if I can make sparks, I can make fire. Fire! With some fire, I'm saved. I'll be able to keep a watchfire going day and night. Sooner or later, a ship will pass and rescue me. After that, I swear I'll never be tempted to voyage again. I'll enjoy life peacefully, even if I have to be a lawyer's assistant for the rest of my days. In order to produce a flame, the spark must fall on something dry, very dry. But nothing I find is dry enough. I did have a few shreds of tobacco, but I ate them for breakfast. I'd give 10 years of my life for tinder. But why not use the braid on my coat as tinder? This will teach me never to give up hope. If I hadn't broken my knife, I would never have thought of using it as a flint. Eggs, shellfish, water, fire. Perhaps I have a chance of surviving until I'm rescued. Back home in England, we soft boil our eggs. Here, I bake them in ashes. As I've never cooked before, anything can happen. I hope they won't explode in my face. They're excellent. I may turn into quite a cook. I'll need a weapon to hunt any game that might be on the island. This bamboo stick is both simple and effective. Unfortunately, the point bends too easily. I'll try to harden it in the fire. I read an adventure story where this method was used. However, I don't recommend it. When you put wood into a fire, it burns. Despite my ignorance of zoology, I don't believe these footprints are those of a jaguar or a puma. They look more like footprints of wild goats. What trouble I had fastening my knife to the bamboo stick. All that work made me so hungry I could eat a lion. I was right. There are goats here. Oh, I can already smell the roast cooking. Looks like I have an orphan on my hands. What'll happen to it without its mother's milk? Of course, I'll take care of it, but I have no idea how to raise a baby goat. Maybe the sun is bad for him. To play safe, I'll put him in the shade. I'll tie his feet to keep him from doing anything foolish. Above all, he mustn't run away. I need a companion too much. He's the first living creature I've met here I can talk to. My conscience and natural disgust prevent me from eating my friend. However, on the island there must be flesh-eaters who have no reason to share my noble sentiments, and some who might even be capable of eating the stepfather along with the orphan. I don't have time to build a shelter before nightfall. Only, how do you keep a goat in a baobab tree? Fortunately, there are some plane trees on the island whose leaves are easy to knot and braid into a rope. In Brazil, I saw them put to 1,000 uses. To make baskets, thatched roofs for huts, and even clothes. As the stems made of thread that could be woven into cloth. But I'm not that ambitious. For what I have in mind, all I have to do is soak the stems in water to make them more pliable. In this hammock, my goat can sleep next to me. He'll be the first goat in the history of the world to sleep up in a baobab tree. Not only doesn't the poor animal appreciate the honor, but his little body is trembling with fear. Tomorrow I'll see about feeding you. I wonder what a goat dreams about. As for me, if I must dream, I might as well dream about the most beautiful day of my life, when I boarded Captain Darrick's ship. That day, I thought the whole world belonged to me.